One big problem is that what's really driving people to pick that individual is that by being the one that can upgrade you, improve you, I have more value here. By having more value, I have a false sense of security. You have to appreciate me. You're less likely to walk away. You're less likely to cheat because you're lucky to have me. I feel like I'm the prize here. But those situations never really work because, again, you're choosing someone that is not capable of pouring into you the way that you need. You're basing this off of what you could do for them, and that's not sustainable. And you're choosing them because, again, you have more emotional control here. What happens to so many people, especially women, it's something that I call the unhealthy love cycle of women, where women in their first love experience, outside of any childhood trauma may have experienced, they're their most loving. They're just out there, they go all the way in. But that typically happens at a younger age, at an age where men are not mature enough to handle those kind of emotions, that level of commitment, so on and so forth. So she gets hurt. After she gets hurt, her moment is saying to herself, I will never let this happen to me again. So now the woman starts to consciously or subconsciously choose men who are, I don't want to say lower than her, but essentially a man who does not take her there. He's good enough to be with, but I'm not that vulnerable with him. He can't hurt me like that first love hurt me. And so that dynamic usually leads to picking that person I can fix, I can make better, who will appreciate and respect me. But again, it doesn't work out. And many times you'll see these same situations, the guy will move on to cheat on her. Not because, and I have to say this because some women think, yeah, he's just being a man. No, not because he's a man, but because you chose a man that you could never be the woman that he needed, and he can never be the man that you needed. Once he kind of either gets what he needs from you to build himself up, or the smoke clears from him being infatuated with you, he starts to realize, I'm not getting everything that I desire. And now you building him up has brought him more attention from other women. So now the difference between what you're not giving him and what someone else is willing to give him becomes way clearer now. The temptation gets way stronger. And he ends up doing something, or she ends up cheating as well, because he's safe, but he doesn't fulfill her. He doesn't satisfy her. He doesn't excite her in any kind of way. And that's why I always said earlier, like, the safe choice is almost always the wrong choice. But that is a function of people trying to choose these fixer-uppers because they think it's going to give them some leverage there.
It's leverage.
That's it.
Yeah, it's leverage. Yeah. How do you know when it's time to go? Like, how do you know when it's like, I feel like this is a common question where it's like, how do you know when it's just, I've tried everything, we've tried together, tried our best, maybe we went to therapy, maybe we got a coach, or maybe we didn't do those things. How do I just know that I feel like I need to go, but I'm scared of being alone.
Yeah.
I'm scared of dealing with the reality that I put in a lot of energy. And I feel like you said this earlier, but a lot of people stay in something for a lot longer than they should because they'd rather not be alone.
Yes.
They'd rather not face reality. They'd rather not lose 2 years of their life. They'd rather lose 2 more thinking that this should stay. Like, how do you know when it's time to go?
Let me first say this. I think society needs to change their thinking as far as letting go doesn't always mean it can't work out later. It's just that it cannot work out under these circumstances, all right? Because some people say, well, I feel like they're the one. Okay, maybe they are, but maybe the time is not right. And it's letting go that will allow you both to do what needs to be done in your own personal lives that will allow you to come back together and have something way more amazing. So that's number one thing to consider. But outside of that, it's when, one, if that person is unwilling to put in the work necessary, it's time to go. There's like so many times I'll have a video go up about communication and someone will comment saying, I've tried talking to him and he doesn't want to talk to me. And in my head, I'm like, but why are you still with him? If he refuses to talk to you, you've already tried. There's nothing else to do. But people will let it linger on and continue while they consistently complain or unhappy about this specific issue. It's not going to magically get better. They're not going to just change it just because all of a sudden they see, oh, it needs to change. No, if they're fighting it now, they have no reason to change it. And what people have to understand, especially with this whole trying to fix people up, Healing and facing your traumas is one of the hardest things for people to do. So if they already have you in their life, they're essentially getting the incentive or the benefit of relationship without having to do the deeper work. It's almost like if I'm at a job and the job says you need to have a master's degree to work here, but we're gonna hire you anyway and give you time to get that master's degree. If getting that degree is super hard to you, you're gonna drag that out as long as possible.
Yeah.
You may never get the degree until they fire you. When they fire you and you realize, oh my gosh, if I don't do this, I'll never get this person back. I'll never get this opportunity back. Now they might go and get it, because it's very tough to walk down the path of the healing process. So if they're not willing to work on it, you guys have already discussed it. And I think that's a big thing, because there's a lot of relationships that end and the couples don't even know what the real issue was. So the communication, they'll say, well, we talked about, no, you guys argued. You guys lashed out. There wasn't a clear communication as to what the problem was, what is expected, how do we go about this? If you've done that, and I believe one of the most effective ways to do that is through a letter. Because I feel like verbal communication of deep issues and concerns, they typically don't go well. You know, people get distracted, they forget what they want to say, the other person gets defensive, they're listening to rebuttal, not to understand. But when there's a letter involved, it gives you time to get everything out. You can evaluate your tone, leave no stone unturned. And now they have an opportunity to process it on their time, to really take it in. And then you guys can come together and discuss the letter. And now it's so much easier to stay on point and get everything covered. If we've done that and they're still unwilling or there's still no progress, it's time to go.